What's your name, please? Thank you, sir. This case 25-059-442, State of Michigan versus Malik Javon Fales. Counsel.
Magistrate, good afternoon. Always a pleasure. Steve Benson for the people.
And Ryan Murad, P83665. On behalf of Mr. Malik Fales, we waive the formal reading and stand mute. Mr. Fales has been advised of his constitutional rights.
Court will enter not guilty plea on your client's behalf as to bond.
Magistrate, we're asking for a remand, a no bond in this matter under 6.106, uppercase B, the number 1, lowercase b. The allegations here, quite simply, they're unacceptable. They're dangerous to the highest degree, and they're hideous. We allegedly have a defendant who ended up paying a victim to give him oral sex in an alleyway in the city of Detroit. Subsequent to the defendant paying and the oral sex act being completed, we have this defendant who allegedly with the victim ended up agreeing to intercourse. But prior to the intercourse act, we have this defendant allegedly finding out that the victim identified as a transgender. And as a direct result of that, we have this defendant who allegedly ended up choking that individual to death. Subsequent to the choking and the death, we have a defendant who allegedly ended up taking the money that he had given that individual for the sex act out of that individual's shoe. We also have a defendant who allegedly ended up stealing that individual's phone. He ended up fleeing the scene. He ended up selling the phone. And then we have a defendant based on police investigation being picked up and arrested. We have a defendant who was on video entering the alleyway at the same time as the victim. We have, based on search warrant records of the phone that this defendant ended up stealing from the victim, that puts this defendant in possession as well as selling that phone. He is being charged with multiple counts with the felony murder as well as the hate crime. We find this defendant to be a clear and present danger at the highest degree. Remand is available. We're asking for it. We think it's appropriate in this matter. In addition to all of this, I have a defendant who is 18 years old. I also have a history in 2022 of him being petitioned in an arson case. So again, remand here.
Thank you. Before I continue, Mr. Vincent, are you aware if that arson matter is because obviously it's not public, I can't see it. Is that adjudicated as a conviction, or is that just a petition that went away?
I had a petition. If it was, and I don't even think it would have been a conviction, it would have been a plea to it. I would have told you, counsel.
Okay. So, Judge, if I may. Before you today, Judge, is an 18-year-old man who, outside of what was just indicated by Mr. Vincent, has no criminal convictions, no other criminal history besides what was just stated by Mr. Vincent. Until this tragic allegation has never been before you or been in any sort of adult proceeding. Judge, he has no pending matters against him. He's not on probation. He's not on parole. This case, Judge, I don't think my client presents any sort of general danger to the community. I think this case arises from pretty unique, highly fact-specific circumstances. And I'm tailoring my argument because I want to obviously display the most decorum to the court. But in the investigator's report, the way this reads is my client never consented to having any sort of sexual contact with a man. He had consented to sexual contact for someone who identified as a woman. It seems like when that realization came about, there was a physical altercation. Now, when you read through this report, Judge, it doesn't necessarily tell you the contents of that altercation. It tells you that Mr. Fales eventually ends up choking this person and causing their death. But it is not clear what necessarily transpires during this altercation that didn't have any sort of weapons, that was a dispute between two people. My client's 18 years old. The decedent is 28. I have no sort of shame or no sort of disregard for the transgender community. And please, I hope that this bond argument is not taken that way. But ultimately, I have a kid before us, an 18-year-old kid who's never been in this kind of situation before. Is he such a danger that he needs to have no bond? Is he such a threat to those around him where he needs to be confined in the Wayne County Jail, depending on how this case resolves? I mean, I see it charged as open murder, felony murder. What's to say that this couldn't be a manslaughter charge? What's to say this isn't a heat of the passion? Is which it really, I mean, when you read the report, that's what it's laid out to be. But I think when you charge open murder, it's just it leaves us guessing and it allows us to remand him. But I'm asking you, Judge, to go a little past the charge and read through this report and make the determination that this individual isn't somebody who goes around and terrorizes people, isn't somebody who I don't think there's any sort of hate towards a specific individual. I think he just did not consent to that sexual behavior with this individual, knowing those circumstances. There's other comparisons that I could make. I just don't think it's the most appropriate time to do so. But ultimately, this is a one-off, one-instance situation that sounds like it went horrible. Now, I didn't see the interview. I don't know how, whether or not his Miranda rights were properly given to him. I don't know if all this is going to be admissible. But ultimately, I have somebody with really no criminal convictions, somebody who was in a very unique circumstance, and a physical altercation that ensues that we don't have the details. The assault, the act here is not caught on video. The only thing that's caught on video is two people heading towards an alley together. Ultimately, I'm not asking you for a personal bond, Judge, but I'm asking you to do a reasonable bond here. I don't think he deserves to be remanded. I do believe that these are very unique circumstances that leave almost little to no risk of any sort of reoffense. I think you can confine him with a GPS tether and give him a cash bond. That's ultimately what I'm going to ask you to do. Let this case go through the works, and however it resolves is how it resolves. But for bond purposes, we're not here to punish him. We're here to set a reasonable bond or to set something that makes the community safe and preserves his rights. Well, based on his real lack of history, based on the unique nature of these allegations, I don't see a pattern here. I don't see a general problem going forward. I don't see a reason why we couldn't give him 100,000 cash surety with a GPS tether, sending it to the redetermination docket, and having Chief Judge Mechanical take another look. So that's ultimately what I'm going to ask you to impose today, Judge. 100,000 cash, GPS tether. I mean, ultimately personal, but if you're not inclined to set a personal, 100,000 cash, GPS tether. I think that'd be more than a fair bond, given the circumstances, lack of criminal history, lack of KPS history. Again, he lives with both of his parents. This was a very unique case, Judge.
Thank you. Yeah, well, it's unique, but boy, you certainly picked the deep end of the pool to jump in, according to these allegations. We've got this sexual transaction going on, which evolves into a physical altercation, resulting allegedly in this defendant strangling the decedent to death, and then going through the decedent's clothing, specifically her footwear, and obtaining money that I guess he paid her, taking a cell phone and then selling that cell phone at some sort of automated kiosk, being filmed in that transaction by the kiosk, identifying himself on still shots of various surveillance video that were shown to him during the interview. I think based on what I have in front of me, this gentleman is significant danger to the community, and obviously being charged with the highest or most serious offense that can be charged in Michigan. All that being said, I'm going to remand Mr. Fales to the custody of Wayne County Sheriffs for further proceedings. Next court dates are August 26th, probable cause conference, September 2nd, preliminary exam. Both of those are in front of Judge Jakay here in 36th District Court. Thank you, sir. You can step aside.
Thank you, Your Honor.